So the topic that this is a small topic. I don't take long to discuss this. The topic that you're going to discuss today is project integration management. Uh, this is pretty much, you know what integration is, right? Integration is addition. Integration is addition, combining, collecting everything. It's combining, collecting, adding. So pretty much that's what this means. In this process, what we do is, if you remember, we discussed a table last time where we had several knowledge areas in horizontal direction and several process groups initiating planning that process groups in vertical direction. Within that, we had, I'll show you that slide today as well. So we basically had to select a knowledge area and go in a horizontal direction on what we have to do in this integration management. The thing is, you have to follow the lectures at home because otherwise you will not understand any of this. As far as your exams are concerned, it's practice oriented. I don't ask theories normally, so you to apply you have to know theories, so it's not going to be that easy as such. As I told you, in this knowledge area, what we do is we identify, define, combine, unify, and coordinate. There are several knowledge areas. Several knowledge areas. We need to combine the outputs of those. We need to combine the coordination, the every knowledge process. The costing is done by somebody else, quality management is done by somebody else, maybe time management may be done by somebody else. So collecting, taking all together and looking at the bigger picture is what we are interested in this knowledge area. Right? So there are 6 processes. For those who don't remember, last time we discussed, there are several words. Process groups, phases, processes, knowledge areas. So we have to have an understanding of these words to go forward in this set of processes. Process groups are, there are 5 process groups: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, closing. Phases, process groups, the number is 5. If you remember phases, there's no number. It's subjective to the group, to the project that you're doing. So within a phase, you may have several process groups. Within a project, you may have several phases. Within a phase, you have these 5 process groups sometimes. Right? We had a figure like this last time. So within a process group, there are these processes. For project integration management, there are 6 processes. Develop project charter. So we'll discuss what project charter is. So we'll discuss what project management plan is. So for your project, I expect you to come up with a project charter, project development, project management plan. Other things are done when the project is going on. We'll discuss that, but for the time being, as far as the knowledge is concerned, I'm worried about how this initiating and planning processes go. Knowledge areas, there were several knowledge areas: time, cost, integration, time, cost, quality, procurement. So those who followed last lecture knows this. So within this knowledge area, we have 6 processes: develop project charter, develop project management plan, direct and manage project execution, like that. There are these 6 processes. So these processes belong to 5 process groups. There are 5 process groups: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, closing. So this here belongs to the initiating process group. Remember, if you don't follow the lectures, if you didn't follow the last lecture, you might not understand this. So you have to follow the lectures. This belongs to the planning process groups. This belongs to the executing process group. This belongs to, these 2 belong to monitoring and controlling process groups. This belongs to the closing process groups. These are time divided. Initiating means that initially what you need to do in a project. Initially what you need to do in a project. Planning is the planning before, let's say in a case of construction project, before construction. Direct and manage project execution means construction. The other next to, when the project is going on, are we going according to the plan? Are we having issues? Do we need some improvements to be done, like that? Closing project group is basically handing over the project. So we will discuss each and every of those processes. First, we will discuss this process. Today, I expect you to know what this project charter is and develop a part of this project charter within the class. That is what my intention is. Project charter pretty much is a document that formally authorizes a project, which means there are several ideas that the sponsors get to maybe construct a building, construct a factory, maybe start a vehicle sale, maybe start a hardware store, maybe to construct a university, maybe a private university. Right? There are different ideas that these sponsors get. But in most of the cases, those ideas are not materialized. Those ideas are not happening on ground. They are not happening in reality. There may be 10% of the projects that really materialize. People think, but implementing happens only about 10%. Implementing officially happens once you prepare this document, project charter. It is a document that officially authorizes the project. See my annotations. Project charter is a document that formally authorizes the project. And it documents initial requirements of the project. This is a budget. This is a type of thing that we need. A macro level idea that we need to have. Macro level idea that we need to have, that everybody, each of the stakeholders need to have. Let's say Yesterday, the technology faculty of Javadana University started, right? So that construction was authorized with this document, project chart. There you have to mention, okay, these are our different blocks that we need. If it's a hostel, we need to accommodate this much of students. We need to have these facilities. We need to have like that bigger level, and within this budget at this location. It doesn't have detailed drawings or anything, but initially to have a go to implement the project, to start the project, the basic level requirements that a project needs. That document is what we call project charter. It's good if project manager also can participate in that. It's not a must. The sponsor may do it himself. The consultant may do it himself. Various types of projects are going on. Generally, sponsor is the person whoever is spending money on the project is the person who authorizes the project. Sponsor. If it is a government project, maybe the government of Sri Lanka. Your hostel project here, so it should be authorized by the government of Sri Lanka, because the funding is from that. If it is Asian development project, the authorization should happen from the Asian development project because it's their funding. Normally it's not always the case. Generally, it is a case. Okay. Now, for each of these cases, we have inputs for each of the processes. Each of the processes, we have to have an understanding of inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs. That is, in order to prepare this thing, in order to finish this process, in this case, in order to prepare the project charter, these are the data that we need. These are the data that we need. Inputs. Here, how to process the information. This is information or output. It's the product. By the end of this process, we should have a thing called project charter. So we need to have these data for your project. I expect you to have these data. You can assume these things. We can take these, and with your experience, expert judgment is experience. You can discuss it in a detail. You can ask consultants. You can ask people. Finally, you should have a document called project charter. So here, your case, you have to have a statement of work. You have to have a business case, whether it is working or not. You have to have a contract. So you have to develop all these, right? You can take a contract and adapt it to your project. That I don't mind. Enterprise environmental practices and organizational processes that we will discuss in a while. For each of the process. Now here in this knowledge area, we have 6 processes. For each of those processes, we have to have this. We have to have an understanding. Inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs. Right? Inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs. Right. So project statement of work is basically a major level description of what the sponsor needs. Let's see, university, the faculty premises as Javadana University. they had this academic building was needed, a hostel was needed, lecture rooms were needed, a canteen was needed. So those are the requirements in this many buildings. So that is what we call the project statement of work. This is the big level, the macro level requirements, product scope or strategic plan or master plan, not exactly drawing. So the things that you need. So I'm discussing the contents of the previous slide. Your project statement of a business case. Business case is, let's say if it's a building, whether it is feasible or not. Market demand, the customer requests, the technological advances possible, So project charter you can in fact download. You can search Google and download. You will have internet now. It's good that in a class it's difficult to do. So you can download, check the requirements of each of these. So these are the things that have to be there. The contract, once again, should be there. And enterprise environmental factors and organizational processes. These are there in most of the processes. Enterprise environmental factors are, it's divided into two. Okay. These things matter. Organizational structure, culture, working style. So those things are inputs to this. The way that you work in a projectized organization is different from that of a functional organization. The policies, skills review records, and the government regulations, market conditions, the political situations, those are all factors in your project. The weather, when you start, if you start a project in March, then from April to May, you'll have to have a time where people don't work normally because of the Nivea and Vesak and everything. Weather condition, the infrastructure that you have, the culture, the technological advances, those are enterprise environmental factors that you have to take into account in implementing a project. Organizational processes are the company's experience. The company that you have, it has experiences, the lessons learned, the templates. And that's why I said I don't mind you taking an existing project where you have the BOQ, where you have the contract, everything. Because it's okay. Only thing is you should be able to adapt it to a context given. Lessons learned, the project files, the templates, the existing BOQs, the databases, the number of people that you have, the project life cycle. Those are organizational process assets. Those are data, those are inputs that you need to find out in preparing the project charter. This is the project develop project charter process that we are discussing. Right? As I told you, there are three parts: inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs. After collecting those data, the project requirements, the contracts, everything, you consult somebody, you ask somebody, or you ask a non-person, you request a non-person to develop the project charter. So the technique that we use is expert judgment. So whoever person qualified and experienced to do this will have to take a decision on this. So the project charter is the output of this. You can download templates. There are plenty of templates of project charter in Google. You can check. So I expect you to have these things: project purpose and justification, the objectives, high level requirements, high level project description, high level risks. In fact, these things we can discuss later, at least up to this level. This we need. This we will discuss later. This we will have to discuss later. So I expect you to write a description on this. There are plenty of formats available in Google. You can discuss among your group, and I expect you to have a typed document within the class for this. You can fine tune that later, but for the time being, I expect you to do this. Right, good. You know the things that are in there, right? You know the things that are in there. You have the contract there. Can you go below? Right. Okay. Scope. Right. Good. Right. Okay. Okay. Good. Good in the sense, I know that you're not the person who has done that, but at least you have found that out. Yes. Design fee is there. Preliminaries is there. Right. Can go. Okay. Yes. Right. Okay. Benefits. You have to share with the group members. Yes.
Okay.
You have the contract here.
Contract means
Can you go below? Okay, the things that I extracted from. Okay, 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 okay. But you can. Yes. Right. Okay. Yes. This is a type of document that we normally use to authorize the project. Right. This you need to change. Yeah. Take a future date and change.
okay.
Right. Good. Okay. The next process is the develop project management plan. Next process is develop project management plan. This is a combination of this we can't do at this level. This we can't do at this level. This is a combination of all the project management plans like cost management plan, time management plan, procurement management plan, human resource management plan. There's a there's a management plan for each of the knowledge areas. This is a compilation of that. So this we are doing throughout the semester. This we are doing throughout the semester. The process of documenting the actions necessary to define, prepare, integrate, and coordinate all subsidiary plans. The subsidiary plans here means, for example, scope management plan, time management plan, cost management plan. Like this, all the management plans are called subsidiary plans. Here we take all those plans and integrate and coordinate everything. That is what we mean by project management plan. It's a process developed to run throughout the project. So for that, for the project management plan, right. So for this, there are several inputs. Project charter, which we already know. So all the groups, almost all the groups had a project charter. So that means you have a proper project. So you have to study what project charter is. What I need here is not to prepare, just to have an understanding of what this is. Outputs of planning processes. Other planning processes, as I have discussed earlier. So that's a combination of compilation of all the other management plans. So enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets that you have discussed earlier. So here, okay, this is where I wanted to come. Here we have 9 knowledge areas. This is the first knowledge area, which is what we are going to discuss. Here we have 8 other knowledge areas. For each of these, we have a management plan, project management plan, scope management plan. Time management plan. Like that. For each of these 8 knowledge areas, right? With this, it's 9 knowledge areas. So 8 management plans. Compilation of these is what we call preparing the project management plan, which is what we have here. So today we are discussing the integration management project charter we have discussed. This is project management plan. So this we will be discussing this. In fact, when the project is going on, we don't have much to discuss. As a knowledge, what I am interested in is its planning process at the moment. Okay, so all those management plans and the details relevant to that should be there in that project management plan. And this is another diagram explaining that. Okay, so this is the project management plan. Project charter is an input. Project charter is an input. All the other management plans, the WBS, all those things should be there. Developing schedule, all of things we will be discussing. We will be discussing throughout the semester, and it gives certain outputs for executing and monitoring the project. So you can go through these. These are all there in the book that I have uploaded to your Moodle as reference document. Tools and technique. Once again, after getting all these things, it's expert judgment. It's expert judgment. These are the expert ideas that we need to tailor, to modify whatever you have to your project, to develop technical and management details. You can go through this. What I'm interested in is all these details are compiled by a set of experts in that. In that. Outputs, as I told you, includes all the other management plans. Direct and manage project execution. That is executing the project, managing the execution of project. Project management planning is an input which we have already have, which you already know. It's an output of, it's a compilation of outputs of all the other management plans. Approve, train, change requests. There in monitoring, there are some changes suggested. So the authorities have to approve that. If you approve that, then you have to implement this. Right? So this is when the project is going on. Earlier 2 processes before the start of the project, from this onwards, from the start of the project. So expert judgment, you know, project management information system, whatever the details that we have, gather details that we have, yes. In this, deliverables, that means the measurable outputs. Measurable outputs. Performance information, this we have discussed when you're doing a MS project, the earn value, plan value, everything. Performance, work performance. Are we performing well in terms of time and cost and everything? Okay. Change requests. Is there any modifications to be made? Yes. Project management plan updates. When the project is going on, sometimes Some updates are needed. Some stakeholder updates are needed, risk updates are needed depending on the situation. Project document updates based on that. Monitor and control project work. Once again, project management plan is an input. Performance reports are an input. Other things are this we have discussed earlier in the set of slides. Then here the change request, once it is approved, it goes to the previous execute project process. Updates. Remember, I'm not going into detail of this because these are stuff that we do when the project is going on, which we have to experience, because we have to have a scenario if there's an issue. Let's say corona. That's an unexpected issue. In that case, when recommencing work, what sort of strategies should be adapted? Sometimes we need to change the entire project plan. So how to handle that is what you call what we are going to discuss here. Closing project. Closing project. Once again, accepted deliverables. If everybody is happy with that, we can close the project. Final product or service is a, and whatever the templates experience you have gathered goes to the library or repository in that, right? So these first two knowledge areas are initiating and planning, which is what we are highlighting and discussing at the moment, which is what you need, right? The next, when the project is going on, which you can refer and do. That's what I wanted to do for today. So all the details required for your whatever your project, you can find out and keep it with you. Each day I will give you a small task like that, compile and keep it with you. I'll ask them to submit a proper document later. What I want you is to not to prepare that, just know that these things are there like this. The project chart is a document like this, and you should have this information in there, right? It's something like that, right? So we'll see you in the next lecture.